you mentioned last time you had a student who went to NYU.
Oh yeah, but she said she spent more time doing homework in high school than she did doing work at NYU.
Now, if you're buying a home in the areas around Pasadena, California and the West San Gabriel Valley area, it's no surprise that the city of Arcadia has one of the most prestigious and desirable school districts in this part of West San Gabriel Valley. Home prices in the Arcadia School District can be hundreds of thousands of dollars higher than homes in a different school district right across the street. But what makes this school district so special? And why do people pay so much more to put their kids here? Joining us today, we have retired Arcadia Middle School teacher, Paul Childs, who's going to be talking about some of the questions that you need to have answered and some of the things that you should be aware of before you decide to put your kids in Arcadia schools. So with that being said, let's begin.
What's up, you guys? Welcome to the Living in Pasadena channel. This is your realtor, Kevin Kuo. I'm here with my friend, Paul Childs, retired middle school teacher in Arcadia School District. Paul, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I taught a couple years to begin with in a private school, and then I taught for 27 years in Arcadia in two different middle schools, teaching mostly English, but I also taught history and a number of different electives, primarily film and theater.
You said you taught 27 years.
Right.
So which middle schools did you teach?
I was at Dana Middle School for 19 years, and I was at First Avenue Middle School for 8.
Wow. And then you recently retired?
Yeah, just like a year ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you're very versed in the Arcadia school system.
Sure.
Having all this experience teaching in multiple schools. I've got a few questions here that I've had clients ask me about putting their kids in Arcadia schools, and I was wondering if you can help us.
Sure.
Number one, Arcadia is not the most affordable city around San Gabriel Valley. There are more affordable cities around Arcadia, but why do you think Arcadia is so desirable? Why do people put their kids in Arcadia schools instead of neighboring more affordable school districts?
I think the reputation it has, it has a national reputation. The high school is, I believe, ranked number 100 in the country, or it's in the top. I think it was a Newsweek poll. All the schools have won, California Distinguished Schools, Blue Ribbon, which is a national award. It's a high-paying district for teachers. It's also one of the top districts in the state for where teachers want to work. It's very competitive to get a job there, so you tend to draw the best talented teachers. They only have one high school, whereas a lot of districts their size have 2. So the high school offers, a number of different programs and opportunities that kids can't get in neighboring districts just because of the size. Right. And we didn't get as much money from the state due to certain factors about second language students and low income, but the city itself has helped fund a number of improvement programs, refurbishing the district, and they tend to have a lot of financial resources, which means you could just do more. So I think those reasons make it more desirable than schools maybe around it.
Basically, not only is Arcadia prestigious in the fact that it wins a lot of awards,
right.
They pay their teachers very well,
right.
So that it attracts a lot of talented teachers, because good talent comes here because they want the high pay.
Right.
And because of that, the city also funds the schools very well.
Right.
So they have a lot of extracurricular or a lot of activities,
right.
that other schools that have lower funding wouldn't be able to provide.
Right.
All right. Second question. Let's say you can afford to buy in Arcadia, but then what would stop someone from just buying somewhere more affordable and putting their kids in a private school to get a good education as well?
Yeah, private schools, can offer smaller class sizes generally, but in terms of funding, unless you go to like a polytechnic, which costs, $30,000-$40,000 a year, they just can't afford to do as much programming, and the teachers aren't paid nearly as well, so you're not going to get is top talent. Plus, in most private schools, you don't have to have a teacher's credential. So you could get a job in a private school without actual training in your field. I do know people that choose that option because Arcadia High School is very competitive, but I just don't think that they can offer as good an education.
I didn't know that the private schools, their teachers are paid less than.
Oh, it's a major, unless it's an elite school, but then you're going to be paying, college level tuition costs to send your kid there. So if you're going to live in another town to get a less costly house, you're going to more than pay for that. If you're looking for a top private school education, you're going to be paying a lot of money.
So not only is the teachers in private schools, they tend to be paid less, but they tend to be smaller, so they don't offer as many extracurricular or not
and I think
activities.
And the advantage would come for a private school would come at the high school level, because you have at Arcadia High School you have something like 3,000 plus students. However, the way I think Arcadia compensates for that size is there's so many different extracurriculars and sports and different programs, and you can actually take courses there that are actually classes you could take in college in your field. There's courses at that level. So I think if you're going to a bigger high school like Arcadia, you just to make sure your kid finds a niche, their own area where they can have a little community. So that kind of offsets the size factor that some parents talk about.
Because you can find your own.
You can find your own
little
community
within
the school district. Yeah, I think that's really important. Whether it's in a sport or at some other extracurricular, and they offer so many different programs. Their theater program is one of the best in Southern California.
Wow.
So if you're into acting and you go there, that would be your community.
Obviously, it sounds like it's a pretty competitive school.
Yeah.
My next question would be how. If you were to put your kids in Arcadia school districts, what would your kid be expected to do, or how can they prepare themselves to excel in such a competitive environment?
Right. I would say definitely you have an advantage if your child has been in Arcadia schools from elementary up, because then the standards are high across the boards, but then they're going to be better prepared. They'll also have friends, there's going to be more social, emotional support from their friends in the community. So I would suggest, at the very latest, by the beginning of middle school, which is 6th through 8th grade, that you make the move at that point so that you get your kid. Plus they offer all those, a lot of kids now take high school algebra in 7th grade, and then geometry in 8th grade, and then they're at algebra 2 as a freshman. So, and most of the kids I know at the high school take summer credit classes too, so that they can max out, so that they can get the most AP classes and get college credit. So all that, but that does end up saving money, and when you go to college, because I just had a student who did USC in 3 years because he had so much college credit from Arcadia High School that he only had, and plus he did summer at USC too, so he was able to finish. Of course, that reduces your college costs.
You mentioned last time you had a student who went to NYU.
Oh yeah, but she said she spent more time doing homework in high school than she did doing work at NYU.
Right.
So if you take all the high level classes and the AP classes, the workload tends to be significant.
Before we continue, if you're new to my channel, my name is Kevin Quill, your Pasadena, Los Angeles real estate agent. I absolutely love living in this area. I'm here to provide value and information about living in the greater Pasadena, Los Angeles area, because I want you to love living here as well. If you're looking to buy or sell a home around here, my partners and I are local professionals, and we want to help you achieve your real estate goals. You can book an appointment directly with us in the description down below. And if you enjoy my content, please remember to like and subscribe to be notified of all new videos every time one comes out.
So that's just the way that, I would say if your child is not, strong academically, you still could do well there, but it is kind of tailored for that population.
Tailored to
the
continuing to college education.
Oh, of course. I think their college. I think the graduation rate's really high, and I think their college. I don't know how many kids go on to college, but it's really high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it is for. I would say you do better in Arcadia if you were a good student.
Mm-hmm.
But there are programs to help everybody.
Sounds like it is very competitive, but it's competitive because the whole system is kind of preparing you for, maybe even over preparing you for college education.
Yeah, I mean they have kids that get into Ivy League schools, top schools in California, UC Berkeley, Stanford, UC Irvine. They tend to get into very good schools.
Last question. What would be your advice for parents? How should they prepare themselves so that they can give their kids the best chance to excel?
I would say, again, if you start your child in elementary or middle, make sure that their foundational skills, reading and writing, especially in math, that they're doing well there. And if you see any lapses or difficulties, you try to address them then. I mean, because obviously when you get to high school, your grades count toward your college acceptance. But I would say this to any parent, be an advocate for your child, because no matter if you're going to a public or private school, because you know them the best, and you know if they're responding well in the environment, if they need extra help. I would just make sure that your kid is getting the most they can out of the school, and I think that's, obviously the school is going to do their part, but parents' part, in my opinion, I mean, you have 1 or 2 or 3 kids, the school has 3,000, so you need to make sure your kid is doing well and is happy and is like growing academically and socially and doing well all around. And so I would say be involved, be aware of what's happening, not just looking at grades, but like finding out how they're doing and whether they're thriving in that environment. That's ultimately the parent's responsibility.
So start early, or if you can put your kids in elementary school or at latest maybe middle school, to have them acclimate to the competitive environment. Make sure that their foundational skills like in math and English are good, so that they can be comfortable in high school, right? And then be an advocate for your kids, so that you're aware of what's going on and what kind of opportunities and activities they can excel at. Right. Thank you. This is very enlightening. We appreciate your time, Paul. I appreciate you coming over, and thank you so much.
Sure.
Appreciate
no problem.
Thanks.